Empathetic leadership is all about higher on human value over business values. Human capital is organization's biggest asset.
When I think about empathetic leadership, it's really taking into account people's experiences that will be impacted by decisions that leaders make.
I think of the empathetic leaders that I have worked for and just how nicely supported I felt. And, even on the worst days, I knew that the world wasn't going to end because I had this person in my corner.
We talk so often about treating others with kindness and speaking with kindness and acting with kindness. But I think, especially as leaders, but everyone, we must boldly commit to listening with kindness.
Empathy is the most important aspect for any organization. We could have a world which is full of high values, integrity, and emotional quotient if we are more empathetic in our own way.
My mentor and former boss, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he was a judge that I worked for. And one thing he didn't use these words, but one thing when I think about all the things he taught me was that grace and grit can exist in the very same moment. And so that's why I always think of just be willing to be boldly kind, even in the face of people who aren't being kind or situations that are impossible.
Work is such a big part of people's lives. We often talk about work-life balance, but how do we think about kind of life balance, recognizing that work is such a big component of our everyday lives? So I think having leaders who really lean into that way of thinking will allow that to translate to emerging leaders.
We've got everything to gain by having more empathetic leaders because we are people, and when we're at work for 8-10 hours a day. Well, the rest of the time we're people living our lives, having friends and family and trauma and exciting things.
I really do believe that every single person is a leader in some way. You don't have to have direct reports. You don't have to have a fancy title. Individuals are leading by showing up and by doing their work well, and by contributing to the organization.
And I give this talk sometimes that I call the art of doing it all. And the trick to doing it all is to not do it all. That's the punchline. And there's really no award for being the busiest person on the planet. To young women, to young professional women, you have value, you have integrity, you have credibility. You don't have to validate the decisions that you make when we're talking about your time or when we're talking about your energy.